Cleto Escobedo, the smooth-sounding saxophonist who lit up late-night television as the band leader of Jimmy Kimmel Live, has tragically passed away at the age of 59. The heartbreaking news broke early on November 11th, leaving fans, celebrities, and the music world in shock. For over 2 decades, Cleto was more than just the man behind the music. He was the heartbeat of the show, Jimmy Kimmel's childhood friend, and one of the most recognizable faces in late-night entertainment. His death marks not just the loss of a talented musician, but the end of an era in television friendship and musical chemistry rarely seen on screen. Jimmy Kimmel himself confirmed the devastating news in a tearful post, writing that early this morning, we lost a great friend, father, son, musician, and man, my longtime bandleader, Cleto Escobedo III. The statement continued with words that pierced the hearts of millions. To say that we are heartbroken is an understatement. As tributes poured in, fans began to realize that Cleto Escobedo wasn't just a band leader, he was a brother figure, a family man, and the soundtrack to many late-night laughs. But who exactly was Cleto Escobedo, and how did a kid from Las Vegas become one of the most beloved names in late-night television? Let's take a look back at the incredible life of Cleto Escobedo III, from his early beginnings to his legendary friendship with Jimmy Kimmel, to his final days that have left Hollywood mourning one of its most genuine souls. Cleto Escobedo was born on August 23, 1966, in Las Vegas, Nevada, a city where music never sleeps. Growing up surrounded by the sound of jazz, Latin rhythms, and the shimmer of stage lights, music was practically in his DNA. His father, Cleto Escobedo Sr., was a talented saxophonist himself, known across the Vegas Strip for his vibrant performances. It wasn't long before young Cleto picked up his first saxophone, and from that moment, the music never stopped. He had an ear for melody, a knack for improvisation, and an energy that made every performance feel alive. His teachers described him as a prodigy, a kid who could play any song by ear after hearing it just once. But perhaps the most fateful moment of his life came not on stage, but on a neighborhood street in Las Vegas, when a 9-year-old boy named Jimmy Kimmel moved in across the street. The two became fast friends, bound by laughter, pranks, and a love of performance. Cleto would later recall, "We just met one day on the street, and that was it. We became pals. We've been pals ever since." That friendship would become one of the longest-running partnerships in late-night TV history, though neither of them could have imagined it at the time. Before television came calling, Cleto built an impressive music career of his own. He toured with some of the biggest names of the late 80s and 90s, including Paula Abdul, Mark Anthony, and Tina Marie. His saxophone work was smooth, soulful, and instantly recognizable. He played with heart, and you could feel it. Yet despite the glamour of touring and performing in packed arenas, the road wasn't easy. Cleto often spoke about the challenges of being a family man while living a life constantly on the move. He once said, "Touring is not really conducive to family life. I learned over the years that leaving your kids for so long just isn't the same as being there every day." And that would be the key to his next chapter, one that would bring him both stability and joy. In 2003, Jimmy Kimmel launched Jimmy Kimmel Live on ABC, a risky late-night experiment at the time. While searching for the perfect bandleader, there was only one name that came to mind: Cleto Escobedo. Jimmy didn't want just any musician. He wanted a friend, a partner in comedy, and someone who shared his rhythm. Cleto was that and more. Together, they created a musical identity that was unique, funky, jazzy, and always in tune with the humor of the show. The band, aptly named Cleto and the Cletones, became a staple of the program. And yes, his father, Cleto Sr., was part of it too, making it a true family affair. Night after night, Cleto's saxophone solos would fill the studio with joy. His energy, his charm, and that infectious smile made him a fan favorite. Whether he was backing up a musical guest or playing off one of Jimmy's jokes, he was always the quiet star who made it all shine brighter. Behind the scenes, Cleto was known as one of the kindest and most grounded people in Hollywood. Crew members would talk about how he greeted everyone by name, remembered birthdays, and made new musicians feel instantly welcome. To Jimmy, Cleto wasn't just a colleague, he was family. They'd been through everything together: childhood mischief, the grind of show business, and the roller coaster ride of fame. Jimmy once joked that Cleto knew him better than anyone alive. And for 22 years, they brought laughter and music to millions. But as the cameras rolled, few could have guessed the quiet struggles Cleto faced off stage. In the months leading up to his passing, fans began to notice that Cleto was missing from some Jimmy Kimmel Live episodes. On November 6th, the show abruptly aired a rerun, and while no reason was given at the time, it's now believed to have been related to Cleto's health. Close friends describe those last few months as rough, though exact details of his illness remain private. What's clear is that his absence was deeply felt, both by the audience and the people who worked beside him every night. Then came the morning of November 11th, when Jimmy Kimmel shared the heartbreaking news that Cleto Escobedo had passed away. In a trembling voice later that evening, Kimmel addressed viewers on the show, his first monologue without his lifelong friend by his side. "We've been on the air for almost 23 years, he said, holding back tears. "And I've had to do some hard monologues along the way. But this one's the hardest, because late last night, early this morning, we lost someone very special who was much too young." The studio was silent, and for a moment, the laughter that defined Jimmy Kimmel Live gave way to something deeper: grief, love, and remembrance. Jimmy shared stories from their childhood, how Cleto would ride his bike with a sidecar and steer him straight into garbage cans. The audience laughed through tears, feeling the weight of that lifelong bond. He ended his tribute by saying, "Everyone loves Cleto, everyone here at the show. We are devastated by this. It's just not fair." The outpouring of emotion that followed was overwhelming. Hollywood stars, musicians, and fans flooded social media with tributes. Comedian Sarah Silverman, a longtime friend of both men, wrote, "Cleto was pure joy. His laughter could fill a room. He made music, but more than that, he made people feel." Musician John Mayer shared, "The saxophone has lost a soulful voice tonight. Cleto was one of the good ones, a true musician's musician." Even rival late-night hosts expressed condolences, with Stephen Colbert calling Cleto a legend of the bandstand and an icon of late-night camaraderie. At the heart of every message was the same sentiment: Cleto Escobedo wasn't just talented, he was kind. Friends described him as humble, generous, and funny in the most unexpected ways. He was the guy who could make the entire green room laugh just by walking in. He was the musician who played with passion, not ego. Off camera, Cleto was a devoted husband and father. He leaves behind his wife Lori and 2 children, Cruz and Jesse, both of whom he often spoke about with pride. He once said that his greatest performance wasn't on TV, but being a dad. His passing has left an irreplaceable hole in late-night TV. For more than 20 years, Jimmy Kimmel Live wasn't just a comedy show. It was a space of warmth, laughter, and music, led by a man who made it all look effortless. It's hard to imagine that stage without him. The smooth saxophone solos, the subtle nods and smiles between Cleto and Jimmy, the musical cues that made punchlines land just right. He was the invisible rhythm behind the humor, the heartbeat of the show. And now that heartbeat has gone silent. In moments like this, fans often look for meaning, for the lesson in the loss. Cleto Escobedo's story reminds us of the beauty of loyalty and friendship. He stayed true to his roots, never letting fame change who he was. From the Vegas kid with a saxophone to the world-famous band leader on national television to a lifelong friend who stood by Jimmy Kimmel from childhood to the very end, Cleto's journey is a testament to love, laughter, and the music that connects us all. Jimmy's final words on that night may have summed it up best. Cherish your friends, hug them while you can, tell them you love them, because if you're lucky, you'll find one like Cleto, and if you do, you'll never be alone. Cleto Escobedo III will forever be remembered as more than a musician. He was the soul of a show, the sound of friendship, and a reminder that behind every spotlight, there's a story of heart. Rest in peace, Cleto. The stage won't be the same without you. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates, stories that celebrate the lives, the legacies, and the moments that shape Hollywood.